by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. As fellas, it is officially game day eve. I wish we could say that this was our last show before the game, but this Thursday thing kind of throws it off. So we still are going to do Inside Arkansas Live tomorrow, which is basically going to be a pregame, but it is technically game day eve, and we're actually going to have Razorback football tomorrow night.
Yes, man, I can't wait. I really can't. It's time to talk about games, you know? We're talking about practice. We've had enough of that, man. It's time to move on. I'm ready. I'm excited.
Yeah, and we have an appropriate little build up here with like a game. It's not really a game, but you know, it'll give us something, give us a little Kool-Aid to drink. It's exactly what we need. And I really, the more I think about it, the more I'm thrilled that this is on Thursday and not Saturday.
Oh man, like the more I think about it, I'm like, okay, it's going to be kind of chaotic and it may be a little crazy just for, you know, the sake of when college football comes around, like there's a routine to it. You guys know it. You've been in the business for a long time. Like college basketball, it's like, okay, sometimes you play on a Monday or sometimes you play Tuesday nights or a Wednesday night or there's a Saturday. Baseball, there's midweek games. And then sometimes there's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series, but sometimes there's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like it's kind of all over the place, but football's always like Saturday, no matter what. So to have it in a Thursday, it throws it off, but it actually, I'm with you. The more I'm thinking about it, I was like, this is going to be great. Like it'll be very busy for us, I know, on tomorrow and everything. But then once it's over, it's like, oh, all right. So now we have a Labor Day weekend to kind of hang out and watch some other great college football games. That's my favorite part about it too.
One of the other best parts about it is, you know, for almost 48 hours, Arkansas will be at the top of the SEC standings at 1-0. You know, everywhere you go look, they'll be up there. So I like that factor of it too. Stop the count kind of situation, you know?
Yeah.
Well, Missouri plays Thursday, don't they? So it'll really be like 20 minutes.
Arkansas is ahead of them in the alphabet. You know?
Yeah.
So they'll still be on top, I think.
Well, and also Missouri, who knows how they're going to fare on Thursday night. We'll see. I'm more confident that Arkansas is going to win than I am that Missouri's going to win.
Yeah, because Juice is going to take them down.
Justice Hill might be tough to stop.
Hey, listen, I'll say this: like that's when you know you're a poverty program, when you're like a top 15 team and you still get a Thursday night game like opening series. Like just throwing it out there. I'm sure that no Missouri fan will hear me say that either.
They sold it out finally.
They did.
Did you guys see all the stuff about that? I guess Drink was like, "Hey, listen, if we're trying to be where we're going to be as a program, we got to sell out all these games." And then, did you see the Andy Staples thing? That it was interesting. He was like, it's crazy that, you know, your top 10 program or whatever, and you're not selling out games. And then they sold out the games. And then basically he was like, you guys are idiots for buying tickets to this game. Like he just completely flipped it. People were ticked at him. It's pretty good.
I will say, I actually do like when coaches get involved in that. Like I know Muss was always big on like selling tickets, but frankly, it's like, I don't know. You kind of need some of that. And so of all the ways that we can make fun of Drink, I think I gotta applaud him here for this one. Selling out that game against Murray State, that's pretty impressive. Even though it's obviously a smaller stadium.
Yeah. How many does it fit over there? Like 60,000?
17,000, I think.
17? Okay, cool. Yeah.
It's 17.4.
Yeah. A little smaller than Bud Walton. You know, just capacity there.
I've been to a couple games over there because I went to college not too far away. And I sat, you know, like they've got the M, the rocks and the M and the grass hill or whatever, that weird thing. I sat there for a game one night and that was really uncomfortable, but they did beat Johnny Manziel and Texas A&M in that game, and they stormed the field and stole the goalposts and stuff. So I think that was about as good as it ever got in terms of an atmosphere for Missouri football.
Did they go to back-to-back SEC title games?
They were cooking for a minute there, man. Yeah, like when they got in the league.
Yeah,
Michael Sam.
Yep,
Michael Sam.
Yeah, Michael Sam. Yeah, because I think they went 5-7 their first year, and then the next 2 years they won the East. But you know that was before Kirby Smart was at Georgia and Urban Meyer left Florida, and Steve Spurrier was dwindling there at South Carolina. So yeah, it doesn't count. It doesn't count.
It really shouldn't though, because there was one year where South Carolina was like 7-5 and went to the title game. The East was just struggling for a minute.
It was crazy how bad it was for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I love this from Unbiased Brim, who it's been a while unbiased, but says, good afternoon. I don't think y'all could pay me to talk Missouri sports.
And we won't.
Yep.
Shout out to Unbiased Brim. He's having a good year. Boxing is having a really good year. And
yeah,
he's a big boxing guy. Always talking about how boxing's better than MMA. He might have it this year. Boxing's having a really good year.
Did you see that the Canelo fight is causing a bunch of problems for the UFC to sell the tickets in Vegas for the Sphere?
That's
well, they said they were dropping prices for that thing in the Sphere, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna look at these real quick. I'm gonna see if maybe me and Andrew can go to this. And they dropped the prices to like $900 a pop or something.
Yeah, me and Hillary entered some sweepstakes the other day, so there's a chance in a few days I might get the notification that I won the sweepstakes. So John, I will not be on our Friday show, September 13th. Not going to be there.
Okay, well
if
good
I
to
win
know.
the sweepstakes.
Yeah, well, good to know. I'm glad I'll put that on my calendar. I'll pencil it in. And
Andrew might or might not be on this show. Just put that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for letting everybody know so that we'll know if it's a good day for Andrew if he's not there on that day on a Friday. So, but we got a few things to talk about, and I know with the football side of things too, we will get into some of the things Sam Pittman said. I guess it was the SEC teleconference today, right? Was that what he was doing? Yeah. So we'll talk about some of his comments there, especially some interesting things about who's playing, who's not playing. But as the title suggests, this is actually a clip that has been out for, I guess, a couple days now. And I had heard about it, but I didn't really get a chance to listen to it or anything. But this has to do with UAPB. And, of course, we're playing Arkansas, doing a little preview of Arkansas. This comes from THV 11 as they had a interview with UAPB's head coach as well as one of the players. And something interesting was said in the clip. Take a listen.
We're definitely excited about it. It won't be any golden lines that's afraid. Won't be any coaches that's afraid. We're looking forward to an opportunity to go out there and showcase what our players can do, what our coaches can do, and we're going to do it with a smile on our face, and it'll be fun.
In the back end, I don't think they really could cover that much. Secondary, they big, but they slow. I think we got a lot of fast receivers that can stretch the field out, and our quarterback can throw the ball. That's what I like.
Okay. The coach, gives a good coach answer, but then you got Giovanni there that comes rolling in is like, they can't cover anybody. They're slow. Like, we got them beat in the back end. What I have my own opinion about this, but what do y'all think about his comments and taking a shot at Arkansas before they play Thursday?
Don't try Hudson Clark back there now.
That's right.
Don't try him. He's a ball hog, man. Come on. Put some respect on my man's name,
No fly zone.
No, I like it. It wasn't anything real derogatory or anything like that. I don't know if that's the only thing people are talking about. I have no idea. I heard UAPB's talking trash, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But I hadn't really heard anything about it until just now. Are they big and slow? In the
I think
second,
you look at Larry Wirt's height and weight, and he was just like, "I got 6'4". There's no way he's fast."
Yeah, they got a basketball center on the back end there. I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, I thought it was interesting because they asked Pittman about this on, I guess, Monday, and he gave a little bit of a non-answer, kind of like just was like, "Oh yeah, we saw it, but it is what it is. We're not worried about it." They asked Brad Spence last night about it, and obviously he's a linebacker, so he wasn't the culprit. But he was like, "I don't know. I think our secondary is pretty good. I don't know. I guess we'll see." He gave a little bit of a non-answer too, so I think you can tell that the coaching staff told the Arkansas team, like, "Hey, do not respond to this. Like, do not give what they want. Do not get in a back and forth here, and we'll settle it on the field like men with an FBS versus FCS game." But frankly, I like it. Bring some juice to the matchup. Give us someone to point at. I now know one UAPB player. I did not know one before that, and so happy to learn about Giovanni.
Well, I'll throw this in. I absolutely love this. I love it. Not because it's like, oh, he's talking about my team, and I like it when people talk trash about my team. No, it's honestly, and I hate this term. Y'all know I hate this term, but this thing, I think it's applicable. This is UAPB Super Bowl. It truly is. Like, this is their game to where, they're going to play other FCS opponents. They're going to play other opponents there, but to even have a chance, to even have the opportunity to beat the Razorbacks, to beat the team that's in your state, to beat the team that happens to be the school that you're a part of a system of, to do that would truly be the greatest and most iconic, legendary win in the history of that athletic program, and it's not even close. So knowing that, and knowing the odds, knowing what you're going up against, knowing that you have zero to lose in this thing, why not? Why not just throw your shots at them? Be like, yeah, they're big and slow. I think we're good at it. Because then what's going to happen? If Arkansas comes out and dominates, which I think some people believe, then no one's going to look at that guy and be like, ha, you're an idiot. You actually thought that you could play with the Razorbacks? What a moron. No one's going to remember. But if Arkansas loses, if they struggle, if he actually, what he said comes to fruition, then he's going to be remembered. He's going to be like, dude, that guy, he was right. He knew what he was talking about. So I think it's awesome that he's throwing shots at the Razorbacks. I think it's great.
There's a significant part of me that kind of hopes UAPB gets over the top on the first possession for a long touchdown and still get beat, 52-7 or whatever. But it would just be, it would be kind of funny in a weird way, in a sad way, I guess. But no, I like it, man. They've got to have confidence coming in. You're right. It's a Super Bowl thing. You got to have the right mentality to be able to compete in a game like this. And honestly, do whatever you can to strum up a little bit of interest in this, because people really don't care about it too much. I don't know what this is going to do. If people are actually getting worked up over those comments, though, wait until next year before that Arkansas State game, because that one's going to be spicy. And that I'm looking forward to. This, whatever.
I think, he's a receiver, so I think that's why he took a shot at the DBs. But I think it would have been funnier if he had picked something that would have hit close to home. Like if he was like, that O-line, man, I'm looking at it. The Kudus injury, I think that's a big deal. Marion Harris, hometown boy, are we sure you can get it done? That would have been funny. Oh, this guy from Boise State's coming in. He got benched at Boise State. He's going to be their quarterback. I don't buy it. That would have been funny if he really leaned into it. Said some, because Hawk fans would have cut a little close. They would have responded for sure.
Yeah. If he would have, came out and, talked about how, their linebackers, they got nobody. Everybody left them last year. I'm not worried about their linebacking core, whatever. Yeah. I think that would have made it a lot funnier, but to go after the secondary, I guess it's kind of a safe bet, because anytime a big play will happen, say if a big play does happen offensively for UAPB, almost always it gets blamed on the secondary. Almost always. Because it's either a breakdown in coverage, or someone didn't have their man, or someone got burned, even though there's still the front seven. Nope. It's the back end. They're the ones that screwed up. So even if there's a big play to happen, it's kind of a safe bet to be like, oh, big play. See, he was right. But if you go after the D line, and it's oh, Landon Jackson, he's not that good. They're going to tear you apart, and they're going to overmatch you and be much more physical. So I don't know. I think it's great. I like trash talk in sports as long as it's done in the right way, where you don't do it all the time, because then it just becomes, all right, it's a bit. But when you call your shots, I think it's great. But hopefully Arkansas doesn't need exactly bulletin board material to go out there and beat UAPB. It's oh man, now we're ready. Now we're ready to go and beat the Golden Lions. Just correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew and Curtis, I guess, because I think has Arkansas played UAPB in basketball? I don't think they have.
The women have a few times. I don't know if I remember the men playing them. Definitely not recently.
Yeah, see, I don't think they have. I know baseball has, and if I'm not mistaken, I think baseball was always usually really ugly when these two teams played.
It was 27-4 one year, where I think they called it in the fifth inning when they were playing in baseball. But yeah, basketball, in my lifetime, I don't think I remember any basketball matchups. But
yeah, well, the only reason I asked is because
I'll have us covered.
Well, I was trying to think of if there's been at least part of the three major sports where these two teams have played and the game's actually been in doubt ever. Because I know it wasn't in football at the time they played a couple of years ago, and I don't think it's ever been in baseball really. But that is weird. Isn't that weird that they've played UCA in basketball? They played Little Rock in basketball, but
yeah, UAPB is not on Hog Stats. If it ain't on Hog Stats, it didn't happen.
I was on the same site. I was like, I don't see it anywhere.
Yeah, well. I think that's kind of surprising, because I guess Arkansas did try to play Arkansas State that one time, and the coach for Arkansas State kind of called out Arkansas and Muss and be like, we're not looking to play them.
Yeah, we're what do you say? We're trying to win a championship or something. We're trying to win our league, that was weird.
I think that guy is now responsible for trying to sell Muss's house now. I think he's in real estate now.
He might be,
because Arkansas State has the old Alabama assistant coach, right?
Yeah, he's.
Yeah. And he's good.
He's not going to be there long. Yeah.
He's
a good coach.
Yeah. So anyways, I was just trying to think of a time where maybe UAPB did keep it close. But according to Unbiased Brim, he said the women team losing to UAPB and missing the tourney again should have cost him the coaching job.
Yeah. Did that happen in Fayetteville?
I don't think they were playing in
Well, they
UAPB.
did. They have played there. I'm
they have?
pretty sure. Yeah, because there was
Oh.
like a delay or something for the start of the game. I remember something about that. But I feel like they might have lost at home to them. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But either way, it's something to where it shouldn't have to be one of those deals to where Arkansas, like no one's going to pick Arkansas to lose this game, but do they cover the spread?
Are we wavering? We guaranteed a win last week. We guaranteed Arkansas would start 1-0, and we gave that whole motivational speech with the copyrighted music in the background. Are we starting to waver a little bit now that we've seen the confidence from the Golden Lions side?
Dude,
No.
Giovanni just made me rethink my entire Razorback outlook. Like
Giovanni had a look in his eye. He did.
We did call you out, John, for having this a dog fight in your prediction. So.
It's true. I'm starting to waver. I'm starting to waver on the entire season. 2-10. 2-10. Well, just go ahead and mark it down for it. But all right, some other things too that of note for Razorback football, and somebody in the chat is making sure that we see this. But like, don't worry, we got it covered. But there will be some players that will be possibly playing, not playing down there in Little Rock tomorrow night. But one of the things that, it's not a position that gets talked about a lot, but it's still interesting that Sam Pittman announced that Eli Stein, the long snapper, is no longer with the team.
Well, what's interesting about that is it sounds to me like maybe Eli Stein announced that, because Sam Pittman got asked about it on the SEC teleconference, and he said, well, that's between me and Eli Stein. And maybe I'll go into some detail on that next week, but no, he's not on the team anymore. So I have no idea what that means, but aside from him not being on the team.
Well, it's a very weird situation because when the depth chart was released, we saw all these oars, and we saw they had an oar at kicker. And Eli Stein, who's been the starting snapper, I guess this would have been his third year in a row, right?
Yeah.
He
replaced the legendary Jordan Silver.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we haven't even had to check who's snapping. He's been the long snapper for 3 years, and we saw an oar on the depth chart with him and Ashton. Is it Ngo? How do we pronounce that? NGO?
I think it's a silent N.
Well, we're gonna have to figure it out because he's now the starting long snapper because Eli Stein. I thought it was weird that there was an oar, but I really didn't think much into it. After kind of my initial, why is there an oar there when we kind of know this guy's a starter? All of a sudden he's not on the team, so I'm starting to wonder, has this been kind of in the works? Maybe did he lose the job and maybe that's why he got mad and now he's out?
Sam said he did.
Yeah, so
Sam said they named Ashton the starting long snapper before Eli Stein left the team. If I heard him correctly on the thing. So.
Yeah, and I will say, Sam is known to lie about stuff like this because he also said that they just benched Dwight McGlothern due to nothing. Just was just due to performance. And so there's always kind of weird stuff. So I'm wondering, I wonder. So maybe is it just as simple as Stein lost a job and got mad and quit? You think that's what went on here?
I mean, it's possible. It's just, I guess we'll know, is he entering into the portal? Is he doing an Marion Harris or not a Marion Harris? Andrew Chambly. Yeah. Jumping in where he's like, I'm done with football. But then suddenly he gets some big time NIL offers from other schools to be the long snapper. And he decides to take them. Is that the case? I don't really know, but it is kind of funny because my immediate reaction to this, and I'm not trying to make jokes, but what an intense battle for the starting long snapper position that must be. Is Pittman going over there and all the people are watching all right, let's figure this out. We got to figure out who's got this. And if your job literally is just to long snap, that's it. How do you decide one is better than the other? And there's one more just snapping the ball over his head. I don't know.
They do a stopwatch.
Yeah,
and I'm not even joking about that. They really do the stopwatch thing. Because pop times with catchers are a thing. Snappers, I know there's I don't know the numbers on it, but I know there's a level where it's if you want to go D1, you got to be under this. And so yeah, I wonder if it's that. But didn't they send Stein to the press conference 2 weeks ago?
They did.
I think so. With the special team deal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fall from grace, man. You hate to see it.
Well, yeah. I don't know. But anytime you hear something like that, I think people are automatically oh, he got beat out, he got pissed, he quit. No, whatever, he's hitting the portal. Who knows though? He could have something going on, with his family or who knows? So hopefully he's fine and okay. And 2, it's, they put him on scholarship as a long snapper. That's how good they thought he was. So, but it sounds like they put Ashton on scholarship too. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's hopefully this isn't something that impacts Arkansas of, not having a long snapper, but I mean, it's a position that is important until it's not. And so, yeah, you're right, Curtis, though, but because there's so many things, and that's what I think is always really surprising and shocking about all this is timing in any of this stuff. And it's like, wait a minute, because we don't know how long he's been off the team officially. Like, we don't know. But if this was something that just happened yesterday, then it's kind of like, okay, so to do that or to be no longer on, whether you left the team or kicked off the team or no matter what it is, but it's like the timing of that is always interesting, which then people start to speculate. So, yeah, we don't know. Hopefully we'll find out. I can't wait for Pittman to be asked about it after the UAPB game, 100%. Or, no, I guess they're not doing the catfish whole thing, right? Or is that tonight?
They did it last night.
They did it yesterday.
That's right. Okay.
Which, by the way, I didn't realize was happening because I kind of thought about it where I'm like, aren't they traveling on Wednesday? Like, isn't that a thing? And then I was like, oh, I guess it's last night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, they're not going to miss out on the catfish hole now. They're not going to miss out on that. They're going to find some day of the week to do it. So, but yeah, so that's Eli Stein, no longer with the team. He had a good run, but let's hope everything's okay. The other thing that Sam Pittman made of note, or at least made known of note, was the fact that it looks like Andrew Armstrong, as well as Rashad Dubinion, are going to be traveling with the team to Little Rock, and he expects them to play, but not start. But Armstrong may not actually play. So 2 skill position player guys that you want to count on this year still seems to be, I guess what they would say, doubtful or questionable or whatever it be when it comes to injury reports.
Pittman did a lot of dancing around on this, a lot of words. And to me, it just comes across as Armstrong probably could play, but he's probably not going to. And Dubinion might get a few carries. I think that's where it's at.
What I heard was Andrew Armstrong, Monte Harrison's backup. That's what I heard.
Careful, Mama's listening.
He's like, he might play, but he won't start. It's like, you're going to play him in like the second, third quarter, like mix him in there. Like, I feel like if you're going to play him, you should start him and then maybe yank him or whatever. But I don't know. I'm not terribly concerned about it simply because it's UAPB, but it is a little weird that Arkansas's top 2 receivers, Broden and Armstrong, have not been practicing consistently. It seems. It doesn't seem like they practiced a ton during camp.
Yeah. And it was interesting because you said Monte Harrison there, and he was the guy listed directly behind Andrew Armstrong on the depth chart for whatever that thing is worth. But Sam Pittman was asked about that. Like, well, if Armstrong can't go, you got 9 guys on your depth chart. What does that mean for a Monte Harrison or, whoever? And he said, hey, CJ Brown. And so that was the first name that came out of his mouth, was the freshman. And then he said, he was asked about Jordan Anthony too, but yeah, CJ Brown was who came up first. And he said that there are some packages that they have that could have Isaac Tesla out there too. So I don't know if that was like his, mental gymnastics way of saying, hey, those are the next 2 guys up or what, but we'll find out. What if the true freshman gets a start?
Dude, CJ Brown, I'm a believer in that guy. The fact that he's in this mix says a lot about how they feel about him. Because even in the spring, he was already starting to work his way up. He ran with the 1 some during camp, and so yeah, we'll see if he ends up starting or not. But I definitely want to see him get out there and see what he can do. And I think he's got a real chance to be in there, like top 5 or 6.
Well, and that's what's fascinating. Where I was having this conversation with somebody on Twitter the other day when bringing up CJ Brown, and they were like, "Well, if you look back." But Petrino started those freshman wide receivers his first year at Arkansas with Joe Adams, Jarius Wright, and Greg Childs. It just shows how talented that he may be if he's going to be starting a freshman or playing a freshman. And I was like, maybe, but you also got to remember back then you were having holdovers of the Houston Nutt era of wide receivers, and you had pretty much those freshmen and then like a London Crawford. It was pretty much it. But this time around, you do have plenty of experienced, pretty established wide receivers that are on the team. I know they've been banged up a little bit, but between Andrew Armstrong, Tyron Broden, Isaac Tesla, Isaiah Satania, like guys, and then of course Monte Harrison, but it's like guys that are older, that have been around and everything. So I get injuries could play a part in it, which looks like it is in this particular case. But if CJ Brown starts actually playing and actually getting significant snaps and playing a significant role, I think that's going to say a lot more about him as a playmaker and as a wide receiver as a freshman than it is about, oh, Arkansas just doesn't have the talent or the depth there at wide receiver. It's more of a compliment to CJ Brown than it is an insult to the rest of the wide receiving crew.
Yeah, I mean, they've talked about him enough now to where it's hard not to believe the hype. Now you just want to kind of see it play out, but I don't know. I mean, you could put spring ball hero Walker Cat-Savis out there against UAPB and get him 8 for 150. So I don't know that we're really going to learn anything about this UAPB game statistically wise speaking, but yeah, I mean, in terms of who's getting they say they don't care about who the starter is or whatever, but who's winning those position battles, who gets the first looks, who gets the most reps, whatever, who are the first subs when it's, 49-0. Those are the kind of things that I'm really going to be watching for in this game. And if I wind up watching anything else because it's interesting from a score standpoint, tomorrow night's going to be juicy for that post game, man.
The one I'm interested in is a guy that we've talked about a lot here in fall camp and really even dating back to the spring, Davion Dozier, where it feels like there's times where you're like, oh, he's kind of making his way up. Maybe he's going to have a real chance to contribute, catches a couple touchdowns in the scrimmage. Then all of a sudden he's listed as 4th on the depth chart. And in the spring, we kind of couldn't find anything from him. He breaks his arm. I can never quite tell where he falls in the pecking order. And I feel like this week will give us a little bit of clarity as to just how this works out. Because Jordan Anthony's another one of those guys where you talk to the coaching staff on one day and they're like, he's the best receiver we've ever seen. We love him. He's going to be with the ones maybe. But then we go 2 weeks without hearing his name. And so some of these guys, I think we need the season to come around so we can get some clarity. And so I think that's what this UAPB game, like you said, Curtis, we get to find out a little bit how they feel about it. Who's subbing in first, who's making the plays. But speaking of CJ Brown, though, I'm hoping he can match the efficiency of Davion Dozier's freshman debut in War Memorial last year. 1 play, 1 catch, 1 touchdown. See you later. I don't know if he's going to be able to match that level of output.
Yeah. That's a good catch to touchdown ratio, I feel like.
Yeah, the 1 play, 1 touchdown ratio. It's hard to beat that.
Yeah, it's hard to beat. So if most wide receivers just did that all the time, they'd be really good. But yeah, that's what's going to be fascinating is to see, newcomers, to see people dealing with injury and who is and who's not and everything. So, but here's the thing, like you talked about, if Andrew Armstrong doesn't play, it shouldn't matter. If Rashad Devine doesn't play, it shouldn't matter. I would rather have everybody who may be a little dinged up or whatever be held out of this game if it means you can get them more healthy for the Oklahoma State game. Like that's what you have to approach this as, and that's what you got to do. So, but as far as all the starters and everything go, just because I want to make sure, is there anybody else that we aren't sure? I mean, I know Kudus is not going to play. I think we're all in agreement there, but any other players that we don't think that would normally start, but that aren't going to play against UAPB?
Hard to say. I mean, no off the top, but practice is closed. So nobody's really going to know until they run out there, especially if they're not mandating this injury report, the mandatory injury report thing right away. I haven't seen anything else about that, so I guess they're not doing it.
Yeah.
That kind of stuck up on me at the start of the season that like the season's here and we have not gotten an injury report. So yeah, I don't know what the situation is with that, but yeah, we'll figure out. And John will be giving us the live report inside the stadium as to who's out there dressed out, who's out there going around. But I will say I'm not concerned about the Andrew Armstrong thing from a UAPB standpoint, but I will say I would really prefer for this team's starters to just be practicing and playing rather than like their first action being against Oklahoma State, if I'm being honest with you. So I'm not saying I like demand Andrew Armstrong get out there and play, but I'd like to see him get out there, run around, maybe catch a pass or two, get his feet wet, and then be ready to roll against Oklahoma State.
That hammy's been lingering now for a while, and they'll do that. But man,
he's got a hammy.
Yeah. He has one. Yeah.
Yeah. I hear he has 2 actually. When it comes to his hammies, but yeah, I'm going to be out there for with those binoculars, from the place of that I'll be sitting, and I'll write down all the numbers and just check boxes there and make sure they're all there. Give you the up to date on who's playing and who's not, because these double numbers, man, they'll throw me off though. The offense and defensive guys, and throwing in the number 0 too. We'll see.
They throw Chad Morris off in season openers as well. You remember that time he got?
Oh my gosh, dude! Like. Yes, I do remember that. What like if they're all the things of all the things, that's like the one thing that if I feel like if there's ever a fireable offense, that should be like the one thing. No matter what you do, you should be fired if you allow that to happen. Because was it they were both on punt return or punt? Was that what it was?
Yeah, it was on like one of the special teams.
Special teams, yeah.
My God, just terrible. Just terrible. But we'll continue to talk about some of the things because, again, players met with the media a little bit yesterday as on this game day eve. I want to remind everybody that we're brought to you by Alumni Hall here in Fayetteville, one of our great sponsors, and we appreciate them being a part of it because they are the ultimate Razorback shopping destination for all of your Razorback gear, no matter what. If it's shirts, if it's polo shirts, if it's jerseys, if it's hats, they have it all. Literally, they have the most and the best, highest quality apparel you could ever ask for when it comes to all things Razorback. So check out their website at alumnihall.com. You can see all the things that they have available, as well as checking out their website at alumnihall.com. Because when you go there, you can have it shipped directly to your door. Probably won't be there in time for tomorrow's game, but don't worry. If you're making the trip over to Stillwater, you can get it in time for that. So no matter what it is, men, women, kids, everybody, make it happen with the ultimate Razorback shopping destination at Alumni Hall. Okay, so one of the other things, too, I thought was kind of cool, and Andrew, I know you talked about this, was the fact that Taylon Green's already said that they know what first play they're running. We know what they're running. He didn't say what play because that would be stupid, but he did say what the first play that they're going to be running, which I think is kind of cool. But the question is like, what do y'all think? What do y'all think that their first play is going to be?
They're going to hand the ball to Jaquindon Jackson.
Yes.
So, like, if Taylon hadn't said this, I would have thought that. But the way, I mean, I just feel like they wouldn't be talking about it, and he wouldn't have like, oh, here's the thing. I think we're getting play action, some type of deep shot. I think we're getting something, or it's going to be like the most obvious, like get Taylon acclimated, give him a quick like little flat route to Haz on the edge just to get him an easy throw, get him settled into the game. You can always tell a team hates their quarterback when the announcers start talking about that. When he throws like a screen pass the first play, and they're like, that's a good decision by the OC. Got to get him settled. Got to get him acclimated into the game. That's when you know the quarterback sucks.
Yeah, this made me chuckle. Right,
start, yeah, yeah. False start or a legal formation. One of the two.
Give him some room to operate. Just get that 5-yard penalty. I like that.
You want to set Bobby off quick. Get a false start. Get a pre-snap penalty before the first snap.
No, like the best thing ever would be if it was an illegal formation, but they scored a touchdown on that play and it got called back. Like that would be, man, that would be bad. But I also wonder too, he says the first play, which, you know, we'll find out tomorrow, but like, does it even matter as far as like the situation? Like what if Arkansas, the UAPB gets the ball first and Arkansas recovers a fumble and they're at the 21-yard line of UAPB? Is it going to be the same play they'd run if they were on their own 25-yard line? Like, I don't know.
No, that's because you can hand the ball to Jaquindon Jackson no matter where you're at. I'm guaranteeing this. Heard it here, probably not first, but you heard it from me.
Reported by Curtis Wilkerson.
All right. So you got
what in the script.
So what are you going to do if it's not that, Curtis? Because you're starting to load up a little bit on the ode bets of things you said on streams and whatnot. So
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I got to figure out what the escalation is here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, we'll figure that out. But like, I don't know. It's funny because I kind of like somewhat agree with you because I think the more I think about it, the more it'll probably just be like a simple I formation. Just here you go, like a 4-yard gain, 2nd and 6. Like nothing too crazy, nothing too fun.
Take this football and be better than the 11 guys across from you. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all ready for my prediction?
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be a play action deep shot, and I think it's gonna be towards Satania, and I think Taylon's gonna miss the throw. I think it's going to be a little like too far left. Like I don't think it's going to be a like guaranteed. Like I think it's going to be one of those like deep shot. Oh, he missed it. All right, we'll just move on.
He's a little too amped up, overthrows him.
Yeah. Okay. I could see that. Okay.
So he's going to be wide open. He'll just have a step on the defender, and it's like, oh, we got the matchup we wanted. I couldn't quite connect on the deep shot. That's what I think's happening.
That's crazy.
I could see like all these plays happening, but like, what play would you want to see ran first though? Like, if it could be a successful play, because for me. It would, you talk about the member berries just being stuffed down Razorback fans' throat if they had like a wheel route to like, you know, Rodney, was it the who's the running back that they've been talking about being really good in the past?
I think Rodney Hill is the one they'll throw
Rodney
to.
Hill, yeah. So like, yeah, just do like a wheel route, like the Wingo play, and have him just score from way out. That'd get people fired up.
I'm seeing a lot of I've seen Statue of Liberty, annexing of Puerto Rico. I've also seen Spider 2Y Banana a little bit. Like I think these are good options.
You know how you knew college football was back over the weekend when Florida State scored that touchdown, and then you're thinking, oh, whatever, extra point, and then you hear the announcer going, swinging gate.
That was good stuff.
Yeah. We're back, baby.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't run any trick plays in this game. I don't want to see trick plays because if they have to run trick plays against UAPB, I ain't in it. Like, I don't like that.
I wouldn't mind seeing them just throw a little screen out to Satania right away and just let him leave a couple guys in the dust, make a play. Well,
isn't that what they did last year to start the game offensively? It was a screen pass to now I forgot who.
Jaden Wilson.
Jane Wilson, yeah, thank you. I kept wanting to say Dozier, but I knew it wasn't that. But yeah, like that's how they started. It's either a screen pass or just a quick little flat.
Yeah,
like that.
He took it 65 yards, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Razorback fans will take no matter what it is as long as they score a touchdown. But yeah, that's the fun thing that's going to be happening. By the way, I've retweeted this, folks, and I'm trying to help you out. I really, really am trying to help you out. War Memorial Stadium put out the game day traffic maps. Please read these because the traffic down there is atrocious and it's awful. And no one knows. Like if you ask a police officer where to go, they have no idea. They have no clue. They're just guiding you to go down there. So look at the map that I just retweeted. If you're going to be at the game, follow that. That's all I can ask because it's a nightmare every single time down there too.
I was trying to get to the media parking last year, and I wound up getting my car stuck in a sand trap out there on the golf course somewhere. It was crazy, man. Nobody knew. They're like, "Oh yeah, just turn left 4 times, and you'll be right where you're supposed to be." So it's crazy,
dude. It's so bad. Like I actually got. What was funny is I actually got a decent parking lot pass or whatever one year, and I was in my truck, and like I was pulling, the guy kept telling me to pull forward. I pull forward, and then I just go like right into like a little like it wasn't a ditch, but it was pretty down in there. And he's like, "You're good." I was like, "Yeah, thanks. I can't go anywhere else." And it was like it was that Ole Miss game. Do y'all remember that in like 2017? Just pouring rain.
Yeah,
disgusting. And yeah, they do not care about you folks. So just try to help yourself out and look at the parking map because it's going to be a nightmare no matter what.
Dude, I bet with your truck, it sucks in these situations.
Well, my old truck, it did. But my new truck, maybe not so much. But it doesn't matter. My truck gets beat up as it is between getting keyed and a baseball bat taken to it. So what's going into a ditch?
Every time we're in your truck, we hear just bizarre noises. Well, you're like, hold on, let me turn around real quick. You're like, oh, it just does that. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well, between that and then the time that me and Curtis and Scotty got the caution tape stuck to my truck, like it was pretty wild heading down to Arlington.
Yeah, that was strange.
The longest caution tape that ever existed known to man, apparently. So let's see a few things here in the chat, folks. If you want to get in on it, let us know. But we're talking about the little trash talk. Zach says, throwback to when San Jose State was talking trash about us on Instagram and then beat us. Yeah, I do remember that.
San Jose State, they killed the Bieber shirt. Y'all remember that?
They did kill the Bieber shirt.
Yep. They did. Because it wasn't San Jose. I think what they were doing on Instagram is they were like talking about how small the stadium was. Like when they were doing their walkthrough or something like that. It's like, oh, this ain't anything special. And it was like, oh, well, you just wait. 5 interceptions later. And they got out of the dub. You got Bishop Boy says, I'd pack my ass full of honey and sit on a beehive before I let UAPB run their mouth, hog my honey.
I've not heard that one before. That's good.
I have not either. That was very specific, and also love the
profile picture and everything, man.
Also, if he has a SpongeBob meme like as his profile picture,
right.
When you know it's good. Jeez. Let's see. I guess was it? Yeah, Eureka Strings was getting everybody mad because he said the team was falling apart because after Eli Stein announced that he was no longer being with the team, and people. He was asking if Pittman lost the locker room already. People didn't understand it. So
Eureka Strings, man. People get triggered by Eureka Strings too much.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that.
Yeah. No, yeah, don't go down that route. Steve says, checked in late. Did you guys said someone maybe quit? Just scroll back into the video of the live stream and you'll hear us talk about Eli Stein.
Kicked off, We don't know for sure what that is, but somebody's no longer with the team. Yeah.
Mutually parted ways.
Yeah.
No longer with us.
Yeah. Yeah, that. Brett's just wondering, how many rushing yards does Green have this year?
562.
There you have it. Done. We're rolling with it.
Sounds great.
Oh, and a shout out to Ice Cold Mint Julep, because apparently, fellas, we hit 6,000 subscribers here on Inside Arkansas.
Cool. I do remember we declared early on in this operation here that we would pass that mark before game day, before the regular season started. So we did that. Because originally,
about it on
originally
Saturday,
somebody was like, "Hope you guys get there by the end of football season." We're like, "We'll get there before it starts."
Come on now.
Yeah.
And we started getting closer and closer. I'm like, "All right, we really need to do this."
What's a realistic mark though for end of football season? You think we can get to 9K?
I say that it needs to be more like the end of the year, because like football season, who knows when it ends? Could depending on the bowl game or not. But if it's like end of the year,
this team could be playing until mid-January.
I think the combination of end of football season and start of basketball season, we could be a little bit lofty with what we're looking for there. And it's all dependent. I mean, because people are going to be pumped about Calipari and the Razorbacks no matter what. But then it's, okay, is this Arkansas football team wind up being good and people are excited about a bowl game, or is it coaching search season? I'm not trying to put that out there the day before a game, but by the end of the year, that stuff matters. It impacts things. We got a huge John Calipari bump.
Subscriber count would be that Arkansas goes like 6-6. They, maybe win the Texas Bowl or whatever, and it's just kind of like a ho-hum year. Calipari's team is good, but they're not like ready to compete at a Final Four.
Like right away, you're like, they're a year away. Yeah,
that would be perfect. Well, I think getting to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year is a pretty
100,000.
100,000. Yep.
Okay.
Promises made, promises kept. That's what we did. We're getting to our 6,000.
We're getting cocky now.
Yeah. We've never been accused of doing that. Let's see. Also, I love this. David's talking about the traffic at Markham. Says, come from the north and park up in the neighborhood north of Markham. Hey, buddy, that's my old neighborhood, the Hillcrest. So maybe I'll just park in my old spot when I live down there. Sure, nobody will be using it. But yeah, that is kind of like, I will say that is kind of the cool thing about like War Memorial Stadium, is that it is like right smack in the middle of the city. So, it's not like you have to go out into the outskirts of it or anything like that. You get it right there. So,
yeah.
Nathan says, what was the bet with the tattoo a few years ago? What was that?
A few days ago. Well,
a few days ago, I mean,
you were going to get some sort of tattoo for some reason, John. I can't remember what that was. And I was also going to do it, but I don't remember if I said it on this show or just to you guys in the group chat. I don't remember at this point.
Either.
I do remember.
Go back to the archives. Yeah.
I vaguely remember that conversation, but I cannot for the life of me remember the terms of the deal.
Andrew was really the only one with sense here that is not going on live air and saying that he's going to mark his body for life for some meaningless bet. But
well, dude, you didn't say it on the air. I don't think the Calipari thing.
Yeah,
but you offered up a pretty bold one that you have not paid your debt for.
Well, my surgery is scheduled to make myself able to do that, so you're just gonna have to wait a little while. Bear with me.
You start calling him Marilyn Manson. But yeah, well, I think the only thing Andrew did was was it your hair that you did? Like you said, you'd cut it if something happened.
You know what it is? I said if Arkansas won the national title in baseball, I was like, I will never cut my hair again.
Oh.
Now, weirdly enough, they did not win the national title. I have not cut my hair, but that's more just to me being a lazy idiot, more so than it is me committing to a bit.
No. Okay.
I need a haircut soon, though, just to trim it out a little bit. I'll keep the long hair, but I'm like hair falls out of my head too much.
Okay, how about you cut it once as soon as Arkansas wins an SEC football game?
Okay. I mean, yeah, okay.
I mean, because at the earliest it would be what, September? Yeah.
I really
think it happens.
I really do just want to have the scenario play out on this show where you just appear one day and you've got, it's a short, like a cropped haircut, shaved face and everything. And then literally people would be like, "Who the hell is this man?" It's
that,
your Twitter profile pic for the longest versus who you were, and we've talked about this before. It was like that's not the same guy. It's just not.
Yeah, because I mean, well, back in the day, there was a long stretch where like nobody saw me. You know, like they would read my work or whatever, or like see me talking crap on the message board, but nobody like really saw me day to day. And so, yeah, it got a little wild there.
Yeah. Like, cause that was the first time I first met Andrew was back when he was in that profile picture of how he looked. And I was like, man, you don't even look the same, like at all. It'd be weird. Like if he shaved and cut his hair, we may have to fire him, to be honest. Like we may just have to move on.
my aura for sure. There'd be zero aura with me.
It'd be
I'm like Samson.
Yeah, because now anytime that we interact with somebody with long hair and a beard, they're just like, "Oh, Ellis's brother, twin brother."
Every time someone sees like a drunk guy on the side of the road with long hair, they're like, "That's Andrew Ellis."
There he is, found him.
Hey man, you look like the nastiest guy I know.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh yeah, it always gets related to Andrew Ellis."
The chat's funny with that stuff though, man.
Yeah.
Like I shaved my face yesterday and then I came on this show and I saw somebody in the chat says, "Well, Curtis looks like he could be his own son." I'm like, man, it makes that much of a difference.
Yeah. Well, and then like all I ever get is just like people thinking I have to put my makeup on. Like that's all I got. Just put my makeup on.
Now that I think about it, we kind of need people to start going at Ellis a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. You know, people like his look too much.
Someone commented and they were like on YouTube the other day and they were like, Curtis and that guy with long hair said something. And I was like my name's here. Like, it's like right there. You can just read it. Like, come on.
It's a tough name to pronounce, you know. It's very unique and
good times.
Let's see some other people in the chat. This comes from Jason saying, I love his profile picture of being Hunter Yurchek on the old Must
That's
Buzz.
a good one.
But it says Jalen Braxton needs to do the same thing he did against Florida and then hand the ball to the UAPB receiver for the first touchdown. Okay.
I like this. And I also think Jalen Braxton, one time in spring, he got a pick and dapped up John Neighbors after he got a pick in the spring. But he will definitely let people know about it if he gets an interception in this game. He likes to talk in a good way.
Yeah.
Well, because he dabbed me up in practice, and then like me and Curtis were at a local establishment. What was it, a month or two ago? And then he walked by and was just like talking to me like we were long-time friends, and I'm like, man, I should know who you are. And then
he came to the office.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like it was, but it just didn't click. Of like, why do you know me? But yeah, so
did he come in?
Yeah,
he got one of the
Hogs.
Hudson Clark and Josh Braun recorded an episode of the Boss Hogs that never went out.
That's
because they like forgot to hit like the audio or something like that.
Yeah, they forgot to turn on the microphones. So which is important to have, but still
it happens.
We've never done that, luckily. So Andrew says, if a scholarship long snapper loses their job, wouldn't you want that guy gone ASAP so you'd have the opening when January rolled around? I don't know.
Yeah, Pittman said something about that scholarship situation today. I think that's kind of what you're getting at. Something along the lines of it wouldn't matter now. Like it doesn't open now for them to hand to somebody, but they get it back, I guess, in January. Yeah, after the season. I think so.
I mean, and to answer your question, Andrew, yes, kind of secretly. Like if he's not your starting for sure. One, like there's a lot of people who feel like you shouldn't give scholarships to punters and long snappers or whatever anyway. So yeah, if he's not starting for you, you low key definitely don't want him taking up the Scully. Also, you got 2 scholarship long snappers. It's interesting.
That's a move. That's a move. That was like when I remember Houston Nutt had, I think at Ole Miss, like he signed 3 kickers in one class and all were on scholarship. And I was like, okay, but he already had 2 on the team. It's like 5 kickers. Probably not something you need. Also, Pooh Bear the Plug says, what are we looking for in this game specifically against UAPB? Taylor Green, 200 yards with 3 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, pick sixes, everything.
If Taylor Green had 200 yards and 3 tutties, that'd be a pretty solid day at the office.
Oh yeah,
to start the season. For me, I just want him to look sharp. I don't care about the yardage so much as like is he on time? Is he on target with those intermediate and deep throws? Because that was kind of the knock on him. And you know, people talk about completion percentage, and I get it. Like there's a lot that goes into that, but if you go and look a little bit deeper at the numbers, there are certain throws that he's just really struggled with throughout the course of his career. So has that new throwing motion paid off in making him more accurate there? Is he in command of the offense? Does he have guys lined up where they need to be? Not a bunch of weird pre-snap stuff, not a bunch of busted plays, but 203. I would walk away feeling pretty good going in that Oklahoma State game if he got that, because it also probably means he didn't play the whole game, which I hope doesn't happen. So.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Curtis. Like, I don't actually care about completion percentage in the big picture, but I would like for him to be like 16 to 22. Like really, like in command, like you said, in command of the offense, in control. There's also just gonna be specific plays that I'm interested in. Like big picture, he's gonna have pretty good numbers in this game. Arkansas is gonna score enough, but like, what happens? Because they're gonna be in at least a few 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 6, like. What happens there? Who does he go to? What's kind of their kind of go-to things? I want to see like that chemistry between him and some of the guys. I feel like he and Broden really have a lot of chemistry. I feel like every time we see a clip of a deep ball, it's them. Whether it's on Twitter account or wherever. And so I kind of just want to see some of that stuff. But yeah, in terms of the actual results, I don't care too much about it. You just definitely don't want him to not perform. You don't want to see him 10 for 19, 150 yards or something like that. Like.
Man,
just have a good day at the office.
I wrote this down for when we were doing our stat projections yesterday, Andrew, but I don't have the notes in front of me. But I think it was the season opener for Boise State last year. Now they played Washington, which is a very different situation than UAPB. But he threw for I think well over 200 yards, but he was like 19 of 39 passing. I don't want to see him throwing 40 times. I definitely want to see him over 50% on the completions there. So
you got to pad the stats so that we can, in week 4, when he's like completing 68% of his passes, we can be like, that improvement. And it's really like he went 19 for 22 against UAPB. And then, but you got to pad those stats a little bit.
A few other comments, like some of them I have to go through because they're so like ridiculous, but I love the name of this. Darby Bybee, the weatherman that don't miss Stan, says, answer my questions, neighbors. My brother in Christ, I don't see any of your questions, so you may just have to re-ask them again because I don't see them. So I apologize for that. Let's see.
By the way, I just want to say, we read a lot of chats and we like to interact. We guaranteed bring them up when you pay for them.
It's true. It's true.
We otherwise the other day.
Yeah, we might or might not read it, but if you pay money, we always read it.
It's like, I don't know if y'all probably may not get this reference at all, but I don't know if anybody in the chat will. But when I grew up in the Church of Christ, still go to the Church of Christ. And one of the things that they did whenever they passed the money basket around is like, they say it all the time, which is a good thing because they're like, if you're visiting with us, this is not a solicitation of funds from you, but if you desire to give, you may do so. So it's kind of like, that's how I feel like we do this here. It's like, we're not soliciting funds, but hey, if you desire to give, you may do so. We will not turn it down. So it's kind of the same thing there. Also, Starrett, like the logo, but he says, what are y'all's thoughts on so many leaders and not naming permanent captains? I think you can have too many chiefs, not enough Indians sometimes if what they say is true.
We talked about this quite a bit yesterday, and it's really not that big of a deal. It's not, but I am just a believer in the traditional route. Like I think it's important. I get the whole thing of, we got a bunch of guys who could be leaders, and it's almost like a reward based on your weekend practice or whatever. But I just think there's something to be said for having that handful of guys that you can turn to. They are the voices. They are the guys that everybody respects. They're picking up what they're putting down, leading by example, whatever. And so doing the game by game thing, I think it's a little bit silly. I would just pick 4 and move on with it, do a team vote and move on with it. But I don't know, whatever. But to your point about too many Chiefs and not enough Indians, I get it, man. And I think you could run into that in a little bit. But at the end of the day, whoever goes out there for the coin toss is one thing, but people are going to be listening to Taylor Green and Landon Jackson. They're going to know without it being official. But put the C on their chest, man. Come on.
Yeah.
I think some people, when we were talking about this the other day, like misconstrued what we were saying to say that like this was an actual issue that they're not naming captains. I don't think it really is going to have that much of an actual effect on anything. I'm just with you, Curtis, where like I would just prefer know who the team's captains are. I think the team would probably enjoy that. I think there's probably, a guy like Hudson Clark or Landon Jackson or whoever that's like kind of been working up their way to get in this position where they can be a team captain. Like when Landon Jackson decided to come back for his final year, I'm sure that was in the back of his mind. Like, oh, I get to be a team captain. Like that'd be pretty cool. We used to praise KJ for being like a 9-time team captain. Guess he wouldn't have been one on this team, but it is what it is. But yeah, I don't think it's an actual issue. It's going to have an impact on anything. We just we prefer to see the C.
Yeah. Well, even to that point too, it's only a problem when it becomes a problem. If Arkansas is having a decent season and successful, it's not going to get brought up. But if they start messing around and start losing some games, maybe they shouldn't, or looking bad, and somebody brings up leadership, they'll be like, see, they didn't have any captains. They have no leaders because there's nobody with that C on the chest. It's like people are just going to point to everything that probably had nothing to do with the reason why they suck. It's like, no, or maybe just because they suck. It has nothing to do with that. Also wanted to answer this question from Eureka Strings, even though Mrs. Wilkerson did a great job of answering it for us. I'll make sure that we do it as well, because Eureka Strings says, fellas, are y'all rocking a post game tomorrow or not? Yes.
Hell yeah.
As soon as the final horn or buzzer or whatever you want to call it there in football, as soon as it ends, we're going live. And we're going to talk about all the overreactions we're going to have to this game against UAPB afterwards. So be sure to subscribe to YouTube and Inside Arkansas, and we'll make that happen for you. And
ideally, we'll be in a position one day where people will get to come hang out with us during our post-game show, which will, of course, be live after every game. But yeah, we're hoping just from now until the rest of the time, when a Razorback sporting event ends, just know that you're hanging out with us afterwards. Just kind of get that in your brain. You're hanging out with us after, and we're going to be there to bring you the takes, to bring you the scoops.
Nathan Klein gave in to. He said, "I had a desire to give."
Exactly.
Nathan.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it, man. No, like again, it's just so funny where it's like people give money and we love it, we appreciate it, but it's also a new element of what we do that's gonna have to maybe get used to. Where it's just like it's really nice of you, but it's also kind of weird, but we'll take it.
There was that one day where that dude, like, I think he thought that he like needed to pay to get his to comment. Like, I don't think he realized he could just comment and we could ignore it. Like he kept giving like $4, $5, $10. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, but we still love them all the same.
We weren't going to correct.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, let's go ahead and jump into your Arkansas update presented by Davis & Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owners insurance agency, securing what matters the most. Go see my boy Clayton over there. He'll get you taken care of and squared away for all the things you need with your insurance. You can call him at 479-571-3500. All right, so I wanted to bring this up. This was an interesting thing by Brett McMurphy of the Action Network, which I forgot he's with the Action Network. He was with ESPN, and I think he was with, was it Stadium or Watch Stadium or something? I don't know. He's all over the place.
It's the old Jeff Goodman thing.
What's that?
It's the old Jeff Goodman thing. Watch Stadium.
Yeah, was that what it was called?
Thought so. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, yeah, it's still, it was one of those things. But he came out with this article of the most overrated college football teams and underrated college football teams based on their preseason rankings, which I kind of think is a pretty good point. It's like, who does everybody rank high or think they're going to be great, and they end up not being, and vice versa. So the number one most overrated college football team based on preseason rankings is not Notre Dame, is not Texas. It's not what y'all think. It is actually the Auburn Tigers.
Pretty funny.
I like it.
They are the number one most overrated team, which if you think, and this is only past 10 years, so you got to remember this. It's just 10 years. But to me, it makes sense because if you think about those years with Malzahn, which they had some good years, but there were times where they were always ranked top 10, top 15, and then they ended up only going 7-5 or 8-4, which never, panned out for them. And then it was usually the years that they weren't expected to be good, like the first year under Malzahn in 2013, where they blew it up and ended up being the team that played in the national championship. So, yeah, I was a little surprised to see Auburn being the number one most overrated team in college football.
Yeah, I think I probably would have leaned towards the two that you mentioned there right off the top. It's not Notre Dame. It's not Texas. Interesting there with Auburn.
Yeah.
I thought A&M would be.
A&M's a good one.
I mean, because they're I feel like typically like they're top 10 like every year. There was also a stretch where Texas, I don't know if it's still the case, but there was a stretch where it was like 9 of 10 years where Texas went under on their Vegas over-under for the season and wins, where it was like every single year they would underachieve.
They were never back.
Right. Whereas like every other team, you feel like there's at least 1 or 2 years where they overachieve. But Auburn, yeah, I guess it really is those Malzahn years, because Auburn hadn't been in the national spotlight the last few years, so they weren't really on my radar.
Yeah, in fact, Texas was actually, or I will start with this. A&M, the team you brought up, they're listed number 4. So they're definitely high up there on the list. Texas is at number 6 on this list. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish is at number 17 on this list. So was a little surprised to see them. But to give you guys the top 5, number 1 was Auburn. Number 2 is USC, which I could see over the past 10 years. Number 3 was a little surprising, the Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've always said this about Wisconsin football. I have never seen a program that actually has been pretty consistently decent that is so irrelevant to me. I think like during the Bielema era and even after that, like they're a program that averages like 9 wins a season, but I just never care or think about them or anything.
Wisconsin is always can someone in the Big Ten challenge Ohio State or Michigan this year? And then they don't.
Yep.
Kind of do. It's either them or Penn State. So,
and then on occasion they'll like kind of back into the Big Ten title game, and you're like, oh, they were good this year. Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. LSU's number 5, according to this list.
I could see that because they'll be, top 5 in the preseason, and they inevitably lose to Bama or something and choke somewhere else. And okay.
I remember the year that it was the year after LSU won the title, I guess 2020, when Mississippi State beat them, and it was like, oh, massive upset. And so then when Arkansas beat Mississippi State, it was like, oh, Arkansas is good. Turns out all 3 teams sucked.
Yeah.
But I remember that year LSU was like number 4 preseason and ended up like going 4 and 5 or something like that.
Yeah. And the main reason I brought this up, because again, it's a top 25 list. Arkansas did make the list. They are ranked 24th as far as the most overrated college football program over the past 10 years.
How many times have they been in the poll the last 10 years?
Maybe 2016.
So they were preseason ranked in 2015, if you remember, because they brought everybody back and they started slow, but they ended up being there. 2016, they were also preseason ranked. They're preseason ranked in 2022.
Okay.
And in 2023.
2023?
They were ranked last year?
Well, I guess it depends on who you look at.
I guess so, though. Like, if you think about it, KJ and Rocket back, and
they were ranked. And I think I had it looked up, and I don't have it in front of me, but they were ranked in one of the polls at 24.
Okay.
So, but anyways,
yeah. Well,
yeah,
and they don't really. Yeah. Dang.
Yeah. You want to know the craziest thing about it?
It's frustrating.
There have been 2 separate years in the middle of the season where Arkansas has been ranked number 8 in the country.
Yeah. 2021.
2021
Georgia game.
And 2022. They were ranked number 8 going into the A&M game because they beat Cincinnati to start the year.
Yeah.
They beat South Carolina like a drum in Fayetteville. Screwed around a little bit with the Petrino stuff, but won that game. And so going into that A&M game, everyone's like, dude, wait, man, they beat Cincinnati and South Carolina.
Ugh.
And then they were number
8. A&M game. That's one of the worst losses of the last decade. Like that's one of the worst losses, just all things considered.
Yep.
I didn't even realize they were number 8. I mean, I knew it at the time, but like, damn.
Yep. Number 8 in the country.
Was that the Cam Little doink game?
Yes. And the KJ Superman impression.
Sheesh.
No.
Yeah.
No. It wasn't a doink. It is a play that I still have yet to ever see where it hit the top of the upright.
Yeah, whatever. I'm surprised the ball didn't just land and stay there.
If it goes 2 inches higher, they're probably saying it's good, or at least reviewing it. But it hit the top of the upright, bounced up in the air, and then fell in front. I still have never seen that happen before in my life.
Brutal.
And also never seen a quarterback on 1st and goal from the 6 try to dive to the goal line from the line of scrimmage.
So,
man,
God, if Arkansas starts 3-0, are they ranked going into the Auburn game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Just because the process of elimination. If you're 3-0, there's a lot of teams that are 2-1, 1-2.
3-0 with a top 25 road win.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I would say so.
Fun.
Now they wouldn't be high up there. It'd be probably like 23rd or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'd be ranked in the top 25.
Well, Auburn's definitely going to be 3-0. I mean, unless something weird happens going into that game. So like, I've been kind of thinking like that Auburn game is going to have some juice behind it. Even if Arkansas's 2-1, you know, like it'll be Auburn's like first real home game. They'll be 3-0. There'll be some juice for that.
Could you imagine a top 25 matchup between Arkansas and Auburn this year? That'd be very random. It'd be fun. It'd be random.
College game
Auburn's
day goes there.
Auburn's projected to go. Their over under is 7.5. So if they're historically the most overrated team ever, that means they're going to be like way worse than 7.5.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Well, I was going to look at it from this way of we talked about the most overrated and looking at the most underrated. Just, I don't know if you guys could just give a random guess of who you think is the most underrated team in all of college football. And I'll even give you a hint. They're in the Big Ten. Most underrated college football program over the last 10 years.
Purdue Boilermakers.
That is a good guess, but no. You're on the right track, though.
Big Ten underrated.
Iowa.
Nope, not Iowa.
Michigan's
got to drive me nuts.
No. It's, I'll just go ahead and tell you. It's the Northwestern Wildcats.
No way.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yep.
He had that coach. What was his name? Is he still there?
No, he got fired for.
I thought he got fired, but what was that guy's name?
Fitzgerald, right? No,
Pat Fitzgerald.
Yeah, Pat Fitzgerald.
Every year they'd go 8-4, like every year, and that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, like because what was it? He was he was. I don't remember what he was doing, but the players were doing some weird like hazing stuff, I think, and it was just a weird situation.
It was a weird situation.
There was one year where Northwestern hosted game day because like they started off 4-0, 5-0, something like that, and they had Ohio State coming in, and it was like number 8 Northwestern versus number 1 Ohio State. And it was a big moment. They got beat like 42-3 or something like that.
Yeah. So number 2 is the Cincinnati Bearcats as being most underrated.
Fair.
Number 3 is also one I could see, the TCU Horned Frogs.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. I mean,
especially
just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were like projected to go 5-7 and they went to the playoff.
Yep. And then you have the Missouri Tigers at number 4.
I almost said that when you were asking about number 1, but I didn't want to get heated up for it.
No. That's why I made sure I threw in the caveat of the Big Ten. But in number 5 is Kentucky Wildcats. So 2 SEC teams that are in there in the top 5.
Kentucky's definitely historically pretty good.
Yeah. But like here, I'm just going to go ahead and make this joke and this insult. You know what this means, folks, all you Missouri fans and Kentucky fans out there, is no one respects y'all. No one respects your entire program because every year they're like, nah, this team's going to suck. That's what it shows me. They just don't respect you. You know why? Because after that is UCF at number 6. Number 7 is Arizona. Actually, we had a 4-way tie at 7. I don't know how that happened, but Arizona, Houston, the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, and the Oklahoma State Cowboys were actually the all tied for 7th on this list. So,
interesting.
The other SEC team of note, you have Mississippi State at 14, and that's it. Those were the only SEC teams. So you had 3 teams in the SEC that are vastly underrated, and then a whole lot of them that are overrated, according to the list.
Let's think about this. Who are the most like properly rated programs that you can think of? They're like just every year you just kind of know what to expect out of them. I would think, you said Iowa. I think Iowa and Wisconsin are who I think of, where it's like 7-5, 8-4 every year. They're never really projected to be like top 10 good, but they're never projected to be bad.
Yeah. Man, like I honestly, a team that's not on this list, who I think, Florida. I think Florida is normally pretty close. I mean, no one's gonna be perfect, but
I feel like Florida gets overhyped.
They've had a couple of really stinker years. I think they're about to have one this year. They lost to Georgia Southern one year too.
Yeah, the U is like that too. Miami, they might be that situation this year where they're projected to be really, really good, and then they're just not.
Whoever loses that game on, I think it's Saturday. Whoever loses that game, I do not envy them.
No, that'll be tough.
Yeah, man.
Is this still the Arkansas update? Or is this? I have an Arkansas update.
Well, sure, yeah, totally an Arkansas update. What's going on right now?
We need a breaking news button at some point.
Yeah, I'll work on that. We got some breaking news?
Yeah, sort of.
Okay.
I've still got these notifications turned on from their account from last year, but it appears that Arkansas men's basketball will open the regular season on November 6th against, drumroll please, Lipscomb.
Oh, I like that.
So
there you go.
Game no longer the team they played in Little Rock last year, North Little Rock.
Is Lipscomb supposed to be pretty good this year?
No idea.
I feel like they've been like sneaky competitive the last few years.
Well, they were supposed to be really good last year, and then when they came to Little Rock, they were down like 3 starters and almost came back and won that game anyway. But yeah, I mean, if they're healthy, they're probably good. That's a solid opener for what you usually get from that. So
did Keon Minifield bust Lipscomb up?
He did okay. That was his debut.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Who did he really go off against?
Wilmington, I think.
Yeah. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
According to my research, Lipscomb has won back-to-back 20-game seasons.
There you go.
Before that, they had 3 losing seasons in a row, but they went 29-8 in 2019. So it's like they're consistently like pretty competitive in their conference, but like not really a tournament team.
Yeah. So that'll be
been to the tournament once in the last like ever.
Right. So for the bye week, the football bye week, the second one, Arkansas basketball will really get going. I mean, you'll have the opener at home on the 6th against Lipscomb, and then go down to Dallas to play Baylor on the 9th. Little Wednesday, Saturday action. That's good.
That's pretty sweet.
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Also, I guess we can go make it all part of it's the Arkansas update. This whole show's the Arkansas update. But I did see that, hey, John Rothstein has Arkansas now in his top 10.
Ball knower.
The Rothstein 45.
Yeah.
I love how that works.
45 teams.
The Rothstein 45, the Andy Katz 36. Like, it's just Gary Parrish top 25 and 1.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
You need to have Curtis Wilkerson top 69. Just throw teams out there.
Curtis, pick like 16 teams and just rank 16 teams every week.
I think I will. Just do like a random generator.
Here's my top 13. Here's my baker's dozen.
Well, and it looks like that he has Arkansas at number 9, and he has Alabama number 1, Kansas, then Houston, then Baylor, then Iowa State, then UConn, then North Carolina, then Gonzaga, Arkansas, and then Duke. So that's his top 10. And
pretty high on Baylor there.
I know. Potentially a top 10 matchup between Arkansas and Baylor in Dallas.
I can't wait to hear this feels like a Sweet 16 atmosphere.
Oh, yeah. Just, I hate that. So, because it's almost like if they get 2 teams that are tournament teams or even borderline tournament teams, and it's on a neutral court, that's what it always is going to be. It's going to have a tournament feel to it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's not. You know why? Because those guys that say that, they haven't been to the NCAA tournament. We've been to the NCAA tournament. You know what the NCAA tournament atmospheres usually are like? There's like one team that dominates the fan base because they're the closest, usually the 1 seed. And after that, it's just a bunch of random people kind of sitting back and rooting for the underdog.
It really is. Until you get deep in the tournament, it really is. Those first 2 rounds, where the hell have we been? Buffalo, Des Moines. Yeah, it's been
a hodgepodge.
Not really much going on there.
Yeah, there's no atmosphere to it. I feel like I'm in like a AAU game, just because there's just kind of everyone's there, and I mean, there's a fan base for each team, but the teams that are playing, the fan base is probably making up of what, like 15-20% of the crowd there, and the rest of them are just people who are like locals. Yeah, I could go see the NCAA tournament, see how it plays out. So, also, we had to also give a shout out to another person who desired to give ice cold mint julep.
Hey,
so, yeah,
hell yeah,
yeah, got to give it out to you. Also, shout out to Chris. He's saying he almost missed this. Had been on the beach drinking some cold ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I started that earlier because I am going to miss this on Friday because I will be on the beach drinking cold ones. So,
yeah. Which beach you going to?
Everybody knows. We're going to Sarasota.
I should know where that's at. Florida.
Yeah. It's like south of Tampa.
Oh, okay.
On the Gulf. Yeah. We go.
Hey, is it too late for me to provide it? Sorry. Go ahead. Finish, Curtis.
I was going to say it's our second anniversary trip. We take a little trip every year. So last year we went to Myrtle Beach. This year we're going to Sarasota. It'll be fun.
Well, I wanted to give my part of the Arkansas update. Did y'all see Dwight McGlothern made the Vikings roster?
Oh,
did he?
Cheers.
Yeah, he made the 53-man roster, which is a big. I mean, you know, he definitely wasn't like supposed to. I think he definitely like earned his way onto there. I saw Dan Skipper made the Lions roster, which I don't think was too much of a surprise, but you know, he's kind of always been a fringe guy. Monteric Brown made the Jaguars roster again. Cam Little was the Jaguars kicker.
Buster Brown. Let's get the right name there. No one knows him by
Ashdown's own.
So of all the position groups, does Arkansas have the most defensive backs in the NFL compared to any, which is so funny that they have so many defensive backs in the NFL, but yet they've been known for having trashed secondaries for the past like 10 years. It's pretty wild.
Jerry Jacobs, Arkansas legend.
Yeah.
He played 2 games or just 1?
He played a handful.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like he got hurt in that Mississippi State game.
Yeah.
I think he came back for maybe 1 or 2 more and then see ya.
See, I think it was after Mississippi State because they played Georgia first and lost, and they played Mississippi. And I think after Mississippi State was when he was like, no, I'm just declaring for the draft. I'm pretty sure because I remember being like 2 games. And then he even says to this day that was a big regret of his to not finish the season. So
credit to him, though. He came back in pro day and like owned it and was like, yeah, in hindsight, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
You know, and like, you know, I almost kind of respected it.
Yeah, I throw it up to him. I give it up to him now. So, people asking Rodriguez Stream's like, "Where's Rohan Gaines?" I don't know.
Been wondering myself, what's Rohan?
Google him. Like,
what's Rohan Gaines up to?
Yeah,
Rohan Gaines, if you're watching, please reach out.
Yeah,
that's a great question.
I know. It's just funny because like. Is like some people may think we just have a list of like where are they now for all the players that ever existed. Be like, oh, what are they doing?
I mean, no disrespect. If they're not playing pro sports, I got no clue for the most part, except for Corliss Marshall. I know he's running the College Hunks moving company.
It's like what's Rohan Gaines now? He's a high school coach up in Sheboygan. Like I don't know. Like he's just chilling for all that. There's one more. No, I guess we had that. I wanted to bring this up too. Speaking of former players, is Keon Minifield committed somewhere else?
He's committed to Spotify.
It's true.
FBE Keon?
Unless he just did some crazy work in the classroom on over the summer, the only thing he'd be committing to is probably like a JUCO or something. He's already played 2 years, so he can't even do that. So yeah, I don't know that he's going to be eligible.
Yeah,
academically,
it was weird last year where he was like not going to play all year, but then suddenly we found a way, and he's going to play. He's going to save this team, and
then he wasn't even with the team like the last 2 weeks of the season, but they were just on the road, and so nothing was said. And I remember me and Scotty being at the SEC tournament. We're looking around like, where the hell is Keon? He's like, we're going to make an announcement on that soon. It's like, he's staying back to work on academics. That was that release, man. And everybody knows. And the U of A knew that we knew. It was the same thing with like the Jalen Graham deal. They're going to Kentucky and going to play at Rupp. And it's like Jalen Graham is staying back to work on academics. Academics? Ain't here to play school, man. What are you talking about? Crazy.
See, my favorite thing about it was just the one sentence. Like, because usually in these emails that we get from the U of A, that's very structured, is like almost like a news article of like very detailed and explaining everything. Those releases just like for release, Jalen Graham not traveling with the team, focusing on academics.
The best thing about this is they literally bring an academics person with them on road trips. The guy's name was Jacob Hoops. Like he would travel with the team to help them with their studies. I don't know, whatever.
Well, between that and then like the Bay Fall thing, trying to get him eligible and like going down, can't go to the Bahamas. Like it was just a wild year last year.
Him and Brew took a trip to NYC to get his.
But thank God they did that because he won the hula hoop competition in the Bahamas, didn't he?
Dude, he was the face of the Bahamas.
Yeah,
it really was. Bay Fall billboards everywhere.
I'll say this. There's a lot of 30 for 30s that they could do at Arkansas, but I'm like, that would be kind of an interesting one of just that season. 30 for 30s of just all the nonsensical drama, rumor stuff that was going on, not even on the court, but off the court. Like,
Dude,
would have been great.
Yeah, seasons like that are why like you just need a camera crew following around every like team.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think about all those like Last Chance U football, basketball, whatever. They're always super entertaining, regardless of what the team's success is. Like of all those Last Chance U seasons, I can barely tell you what they accomplished, any of those teams, but I could tell you specific moments of, oh, remember when that guy got caught? Last year's basketball team, if they would have had like a documentary crew around them, it would have been one of the best pieces of content anyone could produce. That would have been amazing.
Oh man, it would have been great. And what's funny is they do have a camera crew. So where you at, Hogs Plus? Where's all that footage? You know, like let's unlock that one. See what was going on in those locker room
That
moments.
footage is being held for ransom, bro. Like they're
Dude, stuff
TMZ's gonna get a hold of that.
It's probably been burned. Like they had to like literally set it on fire and start over. I'm sure. All right, a few minutes left here in the show. We'll have a little what's more likely, a few random questions in this one. Dealing with Razorback football and maybe some other things too. So how about this? What's more likely? The offense to score 70 points in this game for Arkansas or the defense to shut out UAPB?
Shut out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think shutout too. They could score 70, but I think they won't because
Agreed.
like you have to try to score 70. Shutout can happen by just your opponent being inept, and Arkansas happens to have an inept opponent.
Man, I was actually going the other way. I think it's more likely they score 70 than that they actually shut out UAPB.
Why not both?
Yeah. Well, the only reason being is like, and the reason I brought this question is because in 2014, that was the year where they scored 70 points in a game and also shut out two opponents in LSU and Ole Miss. So I was like, well, what's going to happen between those? I think either way, Razorback fans will take it. You know, they'll be happy with either one of those results. So, also in this game, what's more likely, Arkansas to convert a fourth down or they turn it over on downs?
They shouldn't even get to a fourth down. I mean, convert would be more likely if they're in that situation.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I'm like, what situation would they be going for a fourth down?
I don't know.
Unless it's like super early.
Well, I think it would be if you're at that spot on the field where it's too far for a field goal, too close for a punt, and it's like 4th and 2. That's what I'm thinking. It's like,
Y'all ready for this? It's turn it over on downs. They will line up to punt, but first year long snapper as the starter, Ashton Ingo, over the head of the punter, and he's going to have to just kind of like sit on it, turn over on downs.
I love how it's just going to be Ingo. Like that's just what you're going to call Ingo. No, that's great. All right. Well, I think honestly it'll probably be more so likely that they convert it because I think Bobby's got some stuff in the tank for that one. All right. How about this one? What's more likely? Taylon Green to not score a single touchdown or a freshman to score a touchdown?
We're saying him throwing a touchdown doesn't count.
Right. No
Like,
touchdown for Taylon Green. Yeah. No
I think
touchdown.
a freshman could score a touchdown. I think Russell and CJ Brown are like in play.
But that would mean that Taylon Green's not throwing him the touchdown.
Oh, wait. So hold on. Wait, we really are saying like if he would have to have 0 passing and rushing.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think Braylon Russell's more likely to score a touchdown than Taylon Green to go over.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think that there's only a certain amount, and I think Braylon Russell is, I guess offensively, Braylon Russell and CJ Brown would be the only ones that could really even be in the contention for the freshman scoring a touchdown. But
well, technically, it could be CJ Brown catching a touchdown from Malachi Singleton.
that's what I'm saying. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. But I think
But
both
if
of them
Taylon
are
has
pretty-
0 touchdowns, I don't know how they're going to. Malachi Singleton's probably not playing if Taylon doesn't have any touchdowns.
Well, no, if Taylor doesn't have touchdowns, I think it's probably just because he's handing the ball off and they got no answer for the running game.
7 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, they're just breaking it off there.
In which case, Braylon Russell would definitely be getting one of them. If they're having 7 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they're doing that. And how about this one? This one was actually submitted to me by a friend of mine. He says, what's more likely, the Razorbacks to go 9-3 in football or basketball to miss the NCAA tournament?
Basketball's not missing the tournament. I feel confident in that, but I think there's still the answer here.
I think so too.
Like, I don't know what it would have to happen. Like maybe John L. Davis would have to be like hurt like something.
Well, that's
weird.
just it. I mean, they are 1.5 injuries away from not having a roster, so that's probably where I'd go with. And in fairness, I mean, it's a really tough non-conference schedule, and the SEC is freaking loaded. Like, have a couple injuries, lose a bunch of games.
There's more variables that would have to go a certain way for Arkansas to go 9-3. Basketball, like there's like two big ones that could happen, and something weird would happen. Plus, first-year head coach John Calipari, who may be washed. Who knows?
No, let's just hope not. Let's hope not. I'd actually go with the Razorbacks going 9-3. I think it's more likely.
Dude, it would be pretty devastating if Arkansas didn't go to the tournament in basketball. Like, I don't even really want to think about that.
No, like it wouldn't just be devastating. It'd be the worst. Like, it'd be worse than last basketball season if they didn't make it to the tournament. Just because
they'd be getting dunked on the internet a good bit.
Oh,
and apparently on the court if they're not making the tournament.
Yeah, and then you just have to hear about it for all off season and everything, just all of it. But man, yeah, that'd be really rough. That'd be rough to deal with. But hey, Razorback fans, they've taken a lot of L's on social media here lately.
I like this. Nathan says COVID round 2, no tournament. That's that. I think that's maybe that's it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants that at all. I mean, that would be, I don't know. Maybe going back to the bubble in Indianapolis would be pretty fun. I did enjoy my time in Indy.
But that'd have to be next year if there's a pandemic this year.
Still, like even if it's next year, going back to the bubble.
Book the flights to Indy next March.
Actually, how did you drive or fly to Indy, Curtis, when you went?
I drove.
How long was that from here?
Well, it's hard to say. I stayed at my parents' house in St. Louis.
Oh,
like in between, and it's like 3 hours and some change from there.
Okay, because I
think
like
8-9 hours, I guess.
Well, because I drove from Little Rock in what was our brand new Buzzmobile, but didn't have any Buzz stuff on it, so it was just a really nice like Denali. But I drove it in, I think it was only 8 hours from Little Rock to Indianapolis, which wasn't too bad. So, but yeah, that was a pretty good time.
Come on now. All players are not created equal. When the coach comes out and just point blank says, no, we're going to have 9 guys, and then the rest, not all are created equal. But yes, they could put more players in the game. Come on now. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, I actually still had somebody in my Twitter mentions yesterday bringing up the fact that Arkansas is only going to play like 7 players in basketball this year. And I'm like, and that's their concern. They're like, we're only going to play like 7 guys. It's like, what have you been doing? Like, where are you been?
When there's a defined rotation. Hate it.
Yeah, it's like, you guys got to get out of this mindset that like, it's the 40 minutes of hell way back when. Like, it's not that way anymore. Like, you don't have to have 14 players that are high level players that have to play. It's just, that's not the case anymore. So, also, do you got, real quick before we get out of here, you guys watch Red Zone, NFL Red Zone?
Oh yeah. Great.
Okay. No. Good. Yeah. Well, it's the best. Anyways, Scott Hansen.
I illegally stream it, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, now we're done. Busted. But apparently Scott Hansen said that there's going to be at least 3 games during the late window every week because of how many people watch Red Zone. Like, that's how crazy it's become. So it's that big of a deal. There are going to be 3+ games in the Sunday late window because before it was kind of slow, but now it's been increased. So, because I'm a Red Zone person too. So I was excited to see that, excited to get that. So, all right, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here on our Game Day Eve edition?
No, we're done.
Good.
The next time we speak, it'll be game day. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to have my outfit laid out on the bed for tomorrow. I'm going to be ready to roll, man.
Yeah. Can't wait to visit the old stomping grounds of the great city of Little Rock and hang out and not have to hear anybody complaining about how terrible War Memorial is. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. But either way, we appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into Inside Arkansas Live. For Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.